Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens. This is Jake along with Scott, and we are in the office for the first time in a long time. And we actually have our first on-premise guest in the office. We are joined by Jason Brauner, the founder of Buzzard's Roost. Thank you for joining us here today on the Bourbon Lens.
No, thanks for having me. This is awesome to be in the... Is this the inaugural run of the office?
Yeah, for anyone that is non-Bourbon Lens related, yes.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, this is usually where we end up just crashing and recording a bunch of podcasts all at once. And
yeah,
well, depending on how it goes, I may crash here tonight. So.
There we go. I got an extra room for you. Yeah, I'll have to run that one by the wife.
I'll be quiet, I promise.
Nah. But yeah, we're glad you're here, and we're excited because you have some new products that are out to the market, because this is our second time with Jason. Last time we were fancy, it was candle lit, and we were at Bourbon's Bistro tasting these, and now, step out a little outside of the comfort zone, get you into the hot seat a little bit, and, catch up with you on what's going on. But speaking of hot, let's talk about how hot it is outside today, because it's like swamp ass. It's terrible.
Miserable.
Yeah, I'm glad to be inside drinking whiskey.
Yeah. I don't think if I was outside, I could drink whiskey tonight.
Unless it was like full ice. That's about the only way.
It'd be tough.
Yeah. A cold beer sounded really good this afternoon, and I just resisted because I knew we were drinking whiskey.
I was grilling steaks earlier, and I went to go grab a beer out of the fridge. Not a single beer in the house. I almost lost it. I don't know where I went wrong.
Oops.
Yeah, I did the Costco run and the other day, and I was like, man, I'm just going to bite the bullet. And so I just got a 30-pack of Mick Ultras, and Lauren was like, you're just getting that dad bod ready. And I'm like, I'm watching my cows.
Yeah, at least you went with the Ultras.
Yeah. It was either that or Miller Lite.
That's like going on a diet, right?
Yeah.
Just drinking Mick Ultras.
Say 5 calories.
I guess that counts.
If you're a Bud Light guy, if you're a Miller Lite guy, you're saving 4.
Maths.
Yeah. Whoa. It's a lot. It adds up
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. It adds up
when you're drinking 6 or 8 of them.
That's when it adds up.
Yeah.
If you get to 10, that's when it really makes a difference, because you saved 100 calories. But you also drank 1,000.
Yeah, that's true. It's all relative.
Yeah, it is. It is. Enough talking about, the hot in the summer. Louisville's a vibrant city in the summer, right? And there's a lot to do and a lot of things going on. So I'm just going to do really off the cuff before we get into the whiskey. What's your favorite Louisville summer activity?
Drinking whiskey. No, I don't know. Years ago I used to have a boat. Yeah. And I loved going out on the Ohio River, and everybody's like, the Ohio River, it's so dirty. And it's really not.
Yeah.
It really is not. They've been working on it for years, trying to clean it up. But I'm, kind of a river rat, and I always love to go hang out on the river and float down the river. It's beautiful at night, and it's nice and warm during the day. And, that's my gig. I love that, and, Churchill Downs when it's open.
Yeah. Talking about Churchill Downs and talking about the jackasses that won the Derby, like it makes me so mad. We don't enter our horse into a race, unless we think we can win it. Okay, bullshit. And then you go and then you get smoked at the Belmont, and you gave yourself a 4-week rest. Get out of here.
Sounds like you lost a lot of money on the Belmont.
No, I didn't put any money on it because I was like, these dickheads are running.
They're totally different races, though. I mean, that's
well, they said he's built for distance.
Well, when people bring up the Derby, it's hard for me not to say that I did win the trifecta.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's why he's driving a new car.
Did win the trifecta. And they're like, well, how'd you bet on that horse? And it's like, I didn't bet on that horse. I bet on Zandon. So I do the same bet every year with a friend of mine, and can be kind of expensive bet, but we've probably won the Derby 9-10 times in the last 11 years because Maximum Security got bounced, and I had it, and it cost me about $10,000. But anyhow, it's this bet where I pick a horse that's going to hit the board. So I try to pick a horse that's going to hit the board, which is a handicapping feat in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I box all around it.
Yeah,
it's roughly $1,000 bet.
Yeah, but I mean $1,000 when you hit an 80.
It was $15,000.
Yeah, I mean it's still worth it.
Yeah, and we've won some big races with it.
It's part of a strategy. It's not my $2 trifecta bets or $2 exacta bets.
I mean that's how it went. My mother-in-law put $3 on him to place and show and won $300. I'm like, okay, lucky.
Yeah.
I was at the last second, like a minute before the race went off. I was like, I'm going to put 20 on the longest shot, and he was the longest shot, and I just didn't get it in time.
Oh,
yeah, that's a bet closed. Like, that one hurt because 20 to win on that guy would have paid money. But anywho, I didn't even watch the race because I was like, these guys. I read a couple articles. They're like, we're going to win, and then you run like 5th in a 9-horse race. Get out of here.
I won the Belmont too, but.
Because
we're hanging out with the wrong people at the track. That's what that's the kicker.
Yeah, well, and Lauren got hot. She guessed on a couple ones. We won like $500 the last 2 races when we went Thurby.
Oh yeah, at Thurby. Yeah. I didn't. I won one race. I think
there
it was
you
terrible. But whatever.
Well, we now know who our handicapping friend is.
Yeah. Hey, so when are we going to Churchill?
Well, I'm winning the Open.
Yeah. So next Thursday night, I'm headed to Churchill Downs. They have it's $1 beers and hot dogs, I think, next Thursday.
Oh, the night racing.
The night racing.
I saw that they're not racing.
I will be out of town, unfortunately, but
yeah, okay.
I saw that they closed the turf course for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to get back in shape. I think.
Yeah.
What's your favorite summer activity? We just talked about, boating and horse racing.
Yeah, I think it's probably like baseball games.
Yeah.
Go down, again, downtown on the river and just go downtown and watching some of the games where they have the fireworks afterwards. It's always fun.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, though, because it can be really damn hot out there.
Yeah.
Just find the shade.
Hot tip. Go to a Bats game, get the fried bologna sandwich. Just do it. It's really good, and you can't get fried bologna sandwiches everywhere. Just do it.
You sound a lot like my dad. That's the first thing he does when he gets there. Fried bologna sandwich, beer, and he's set for at least the first inning.
It's the second and third you got to watch out when you get the pretzel, the popcorn, and then you go back to get the jumbo dog at the stretch.
Talking about calories, saving calories,
adding them up. That's why you get the Mick Ultras, baby. But my favorite summer activity actually is just find me a pool and just sit there and get in every now and again and just drink some Buzzard Roost, at the pool.
You're sunbathing.
No. I sit under.
You got to work on your tan.
I sit under an umbrella. I don't.
You gotta keep your complexion nice.
Don't want to get burnt. That hurts. And I do like to golf. And it's a sad news. I hear Cherokee is up for like discontinuation.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Kind of challenging 9-hole course there. I'm a golfer as well. But love to play golf, and I've been working on my game quite a bit.
Yeah, I did the most expensive part. I bought the new clubs that fit you, and that's not cheap. And then I took lessons, and that's not cheap. Golf is definitely not cheap. Nothing about golf is cheap because golf balls are expensive, and I lose them. It's just bad. Why hasn't someone invented the geo finding ball?
Well, what's cool is when I lose mine, I usually find 2 because they're about in the same spot that somebody else has lost.
Somebody else screwed up the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fun. My goal is always just to shoot right around 90. If I can shoot 90, I'm happy. Most days I'm like 100, but try to shoot 90. Happy.
That's out of my element. I don't golf at all. So
you can drive and drink beer though.
I can drive a golf cart. I can drive a golf ball, but I can't play anything else. Putting maybe, but
so you can do the 2 hardest things. You can drive a ball and putt.
Well, I didn't say I could drive it very far, but I can hit the ball at least. I mean, I know that's
or which direction. I mean, that's the whole thing.
That's the half the battle.
I mean, it's. Can you drive it somewhat straight? And that's the problem. Mine go right or left quite a bit.
I like to take the Uncle Rico approach. You see that mountain over there?
You hit it over the mountain.
I hit it over the mountain.
So that's why it goes to the side of the mountain.
Yeah, that's why it goes 500, 5 feet forward and 500 feet right. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fickle game, but you know what's not fickle? Drinking whiskey.
That's true.
And so we've bantered and BS'd enough. So Buzzard's Roost, it's been a year, and you all have had some success really in that time, and put out a variety of new products and really new opportunities. But really, this one that we're going to talk about first is the toasted barrel. That's really kind of got some steam behind it, right? It's done really well at San Francisco.
Yeah, it's got some legs to it. We developed this. This was our third or fourth product we put out. And we sent it to San Francisco World Spirits Competition last year, and we won a double gold. And then we sent it this year and won a gold.
And so, like, when you think about entering, your all's whiskey into a competition to get some legs behind it and get some growth, like, what's that do for the brand when it comes back? Double gold's the highest standard at San Francisco. Like, what's that do to you all from just a recognition perspective when you're talking about standing out in a liquor store that's got plenty of SKUs?
Right. I mean, it's great for us. I mean, that's the only competition we enter because it's recognized by the industry and we're just not out there trying to buy awards and whatever. We care about what's in the bottle, and we want other people to, and we're our strongest critics, and we want other people, like, you're not going to hurt my feelings by giving me an honest opinion of what you think of it, because that only makes me strive to want to make our products better. Mm-hmm. So we've sent 7 whiskeys to San Francisco, and we've won 7 medals.
There you go.
So we're real happy about that.
Yeah, I've always wondered, like, the perspective on medals. Like, people give, like, some brands crap, like for, like, plastinol, like their stickers all over the bottles and all those things. But there's got to be some sense of pride, like, in the fact that you took time, you crafted a whiskey, and you entered it, and people recognize it at the top of its field or near the top of the field. Like, how does that make you feel as, like, a proprietor and creator of whiskey?
It makes us feel great. I mean, it makes us feel like we're on the right track, that we're doing what we need to be doing as a whiskey brand. It's almost being, you're being complimented by your peers.
Yeah.
And other people who have great palates, obviously, who are on this board or what have you, that it seems, we're on the right track to be doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I like about this one, just in particular, because I've had it a few times, this toasted barrel rye, I think it's a bourbon drinker's rye. Like, it gives you some caramel, vanilla, but, like, on the back end, you get that rye spiciness and citrus notes to it. So, like, that's one of the ways, like, I was won over at first. Like, I like rye whiskey in general, but this one kind of won me over because it could go either way. And I think it could confuse people in a tasting, really, in all honesty, because it has a lot of flavor complexity to it. It's not just like a one-trick pony like some 95.5s are.
Sure. And maybe we talked about this before. I did not listen to the podcast recently that we did earlier, but I'm a bourbon guy from way back, and it's just like, I think that we try to bring those bourbon flavors out in the barrel, how we develop our barrels. And so I always called them a bourbon drinker's rye. I was never a rye fan. I never, ryes are great for making cocktails, and I'm not a cocktail guy, but, I love sitting around sipping on whiskey, and the reason that these are sipping whiskeys, but they could still stand up to a cocktail if you want to make it, and they put that depth into a cocktail. But I've made these whiskeys for sitting around sipping.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, they don't sit in the glass too long.
It's like, I need a refill.
The sips go by quick.
You think of a 95.5 rye, and they're 3 and 4 years old, it really shouldn't be a sipper.
No.
To me, that's 3 non-selling points that I think we've turned into selling points.
Mm-hmm.
To where it is a 95.5. It's kind of young and it's high proof, and normally you probably wouldn't want that for a sipping whiskey.
Yeah. I think what's also really interesting about this is the finish on this. The finish stays with you for a long time. And I'm not a huge finish person, but, like, this one, like, stays in your palate. It stays warm in your chest. Like, it just, it's there. You've drank it. And that's what I like it.
Yeah. And, since we are double barreling right now, all of our stuff is all about our innovative barrel process. And hopefully when we get some new make, will be a single barrel program. As far as they'll go into our proprietary barrels from the get-go. But if you think about that it really, to me, it doesn't taste double-barreled to me. It some of the double-barreled stuff out there has like layers. It's like it doesn't really blend very well. This, I don't know if you could, maybe you can tell it's double-barreled, but I don't think so. I think it blends very well.
Yeah, and I think it also hits on what's really important in today's industry. People look for words like toasted, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just something that the market has leaned toward. So someone coming through in an aisle, like in Total Wine or wherever, they might say, well, I really like toasted X. Let me try this toasted barrel because I'm just in the market to try new toasted products. And I think that goes back to our trending episode, like at the beginning of the year. Like I think barrel finishes and toasting, like that's here to stay because people love the complexity that brings to a whiskey.
Yeah, definitely. That second barreling. I mean, we've talked about this, that a lot of people argue, at least 70% of the flavor of whiskey comes from the barrel. So, if we're all sourcing and we're transparent about what we do, a lot of people source from MGP, which is a great partner of ours. They make great whiskey. But if everybody's sourcing and the only art is blending, which I think we have a pretty good handle on, the thing about it is our double barrel process, with 70% of the flavor coming from the barrel, we're really focusing on the barrel. So we're almost reverse engineering it with, we're starting with the wood and working our way backwards. And, it only sits in our barrels for anywhere for 2 to 6 months, and then we get rid of them. It's an expensive process, but we feel it's worth it.
Yeah. And, speaking of that expensive process, like wood's only getting more expensive.
Tell me.
Yeah. So
100-year-old oak.
Yeah. So like, what's that look like to a more scaled, right? And I'm not going to say smaller, but scaled, approach. Like, how does that impact your all's, projections for the future?
Well, we're a small company and we get our barrels from Independent Stave Company, who supplies a great deal of whiskey and wine people in the world. And we're kind of running into a little bit of trouble. I think we've got it worked out, but when you're talking about beam and makers and things doubling their output, and they're like, Independent Stave, where's all our barrels? It's getting a little scary for little guys.
Mm-hmm.
And for new people coming in, I think it's really going to be scary for those guys, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully Independent Stave's got a new processing plant coming on board, and it's not a shortage of wood or anything like that. It's just they can't get enough barrels on the market. I mean, obviously all this stuff takes time and everybody wants it yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause most of these large conglomerates, they don't stop producing whiskey.
No, they are looking for something to put the new make in.
And they're not used to hearing no.
Yeah.
When we're going to double production, the barrels need to be there.
Yeah.
And so Independent Stave is like, yeah, we're going to have your barrels there.
They'll be there.
So do when I go up and say, I want my barrels, it may not be the same yes that Beam gets, believe me.
Yeah. I can only imagine. And that's just one of the things that I've been very interested in, because we've heard it from other smaller distilleries, like Frey Ranch has mentioned to us, like they have some ISC barrels and they're like, yeah, we needed to give our projections out until 2020, like into year 23 already. And that was in April. I'm like, that's a crapshoot, especially if you have like maybe new make come in, or if you have new product lines, or you're doubling capacity, like
bring on a third shift or something.
Well, yeah. There's a lot more pencil to paper going down now than it ever has been. Yeah. And God bless our CEO. She does a great job of forecasting all this and trying to get us ahead of the game, because we've always tried to stay a little bit ahead of the game, and it's a faster pace than you would imagine.
Oh, I can't imagine like how fast of a pace it's going. I think the industry is all really interesting, because we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast, right? How it's hard to find some of the bigger guys anymore. Like allocation changes, they open up new markets, yada, 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 whatever. And like for Scott and I, we've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. It's finding products like yourself or whomever's local or different and saying, hey, let's try something unique and try something different. And I think this is where, for those people who are local and you want to shop local and buy local, like this is a brand that you can get behind because it's local. Like, I think that's what's fun about it and exciting about it is in this day and age when you maybe not be able to find your favorite Buffalo Trace or Four Roses, like you can go and get this, and it's not readily available because you all are selling at a high clip. And I've seen it run out on shelves. Like I've seen it missing at Total Wine before. I think that's really cool that people are flocking to those products as well.
Yeah. And it is a big issue with bourbon, the popularity of it and just whiskey in general. And we've vowed not to hopefully make and not to throw shade or anything, but we've seen those supply issues and try not to make those in our growth moving forward as far as being able to supply the states that we're in and not overstepping our bounds that, we're going to grow at the pace that we can grow and keep our company or our customers happy.
Yeah.
And so we have seen that. And we're kind of dropping back. We had a bigger scope of being into 20 or 25 states. And now we're down to, hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to be in 15 states. We'll be able to supply those. Now we are going to have some limited offerings, which will be seasonal.
Yeah.
But there'll be a run of that and then it'll be out, but it'll come back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And all these stores who've supported us from the get-go will get first dibs and then we'll grow it from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, we're going to be in 15 states and Canada by the end of the year. And, we're looking forward to it and hopefully we won't make, we're trying to minimize our mistakes. Let's put it that way.
So, from an expansion perspective, 15 states, like, are you all around like the Ohio Valley or have you expanded like coast to coast?
Yeah, well, it's we did a lot of research of what whiskey cities are and then what states they are. And then there's a lot of different ABC laws or ATF laws, whatever you want to call them, that makes it harder to get in that state. But basically it's East Coast, this side of the Mississippi mainly, but we are also in New Mexico.
Oh,
and we're looking at 2023 as to grow. We're going to start moving west, of course. And it may go further west and then come back as far as like Texas, California, or, wherever. It's just we're trying to hit whiskey markets.
Well, yeah, and going to Canada is a really interesting thing because they love rye whiskey.
And that's all they took is our rye. They didn't take any bourbon.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's
show them how it's done, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully it'll be really popular up there.
Well, Canadian rye is just completely different. I like Canadian rye whiskey. Yeah. I do. It's like oatmeal-y. It's really creamy. I think the way we do rye whiskey is a little bit different. Sure. And I think they'll be bigger consumers. And I think if you like the toasted barrel, the barrel strength is more your normal rye whiskey. And I think this could get people like on board with, hey, this is a punchy 95.5 that you all have done. But it's not that it, and this I think goes to like what you all are doing on the back end when you get the barrels. It's not the traditional like all like evergreen or all citrus. Like it's got a depth and complexity to it that I'm not putting like justice on. Scott, I don't know, maybe if you have some thoughts or notes on it.
Wow, that went quick.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I just realized I didn't pour that much, or I just drank it really, really fast. Yeah, and I'm kind of with you, Jason. Like, I've never been a huge rye whiskey fan. Like, I love my corn whiskey. I love bourbon. And it doesn't even drink like it's barrel strength either. Like, it's super confusing.
It's so sneaky good for 114 and young. And what it has to me, if you're ever a little kid and you'd be running around, and we had honeysuckle plants wherever we were.
Yep.
So you take those little stamens, is all I could call them, and it's this wispy, very slight taste of honeysuckle, and that is what this gives to me on the palate. And it's viscous, but it's a real light. It's not like taking a spoonful of honey because that's really heavy, but this is real light, but it has that honeysuckle flavor. And just this won a gold medal last year. And I don't know if we sent it this year or not. I mean,
the honey note was what I couldn't put my finger on. That's because it's
real slight.
It is.
It's like floral honey.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, it's honeysuckle is like the plant or the weed. Isn't it a weed?
Yeah, probably.
It's like a vine that grows like crazy.
This is around my house, probably. Milkweed, honeysuckles, whatever.
But yeah, it's just
Mint.
like the thing I don't like about rye whiskey is when it tastes like dill or like super grassy. This doesn't taste like that at all.
I think our
fragrant.
Process, our secondary barreling process, I think it does eliminate, because I'm not a big dill fan or a big minty fan, and I don't see that in our products. But
no, I think this has a little bit of pine to it, which I like too. Like this one, fragrant is the right word. It's got a good perfume to it, like because it's to borrow a term from Peggy No Stevens. It's got a good bouquet because it does have a lot of floral notes to it as well, which is really interesting and nice.
Comparing to like the toasted, which I get like a lot of graham cracker, like cinnamon, like breadiness almost.
Yeah.
And that's what I love doing these linear, because it's all the same stuff from MGP. It's 95.5, about the same 3 and 4 year old. Mm-hmm. But the only reason that they taste different is our barrel application.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask this one question. Is it like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory up there?
It's really, I'm very fortunate. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I did feel like that. We went actually to Bardstown Bourbon Company. We went to the lab, and we've been mixing it at home at our CEO's house.
Yeah.
And, with beakers and stuff like that. And we actually went to BBC, and they've got RO water, and we did this and did that. And when I left there, I felt the session, we did 45 different samples, made it all work, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I did feel like I was at Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory when I left. It was just unbelievable. And that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies. And it was something like I felt we had done a good round, and we've got some new stuff coming out, and it's pretty cool. So
yeah. Well, we'll see how many pours we can get in Jason, see if we can get him talking about what's coming up.
He's like, is that recording?
Yeah, we're trying to hone in on, what our base should be, because, there's only so much room at liquor stores, and we understand that. And we want to get into bars and restaurants as far as being able to make cocktails or just, sipping whiskey, obviously. But we understand that that's an issue. But, we're having fun, like you said, at Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. We're doing all this experimenting. It's all, you taste one and then you move to the next one. It's better than the last one. Mm-hmm. So it gets kind of crazy at that point.
Oh, for sure. And you've mentioned, once or twice about new make. So like, how old is your all's stuff that you all have put in barrels?
We buy aged whiskey right now.
Yeah.
We're on the books for some new make at 2 different places right now.
Awesome. That's exciting.
And we're working on a tasting room.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if we've talked about that, but
where are y'all looking to do?
We're looking at 624 West Main Street.
Oh,
so we're right on Whiskey Row, right next to Morton's, across the street from Michter's Proof, right down the street from Old Forester, right in the heart of it. Looking for tourism and things. We're hoping to open up a bar tasting room, and we also bought a little bitty doubler.
Ooh.
So we're looking to buy some first run.
Yeah.
They were going to run it through our doubler, clean it up, and then put it initially into our barrels.
Oh, sweet.
So hopefully we'll have some somewhat new make going into our barrel first run this year, by the end of this year.
Oh, that's exciting.
And then we've got, we're on contract with some other stuff, and we'll have new make going into our first run barrels next year.
That's awesome, man. When's the tasting room going to?
I love I love our city and I love our government, but
when there's a new mayor in town.
Well, no, it's not really the mayor. We're just we're doing something different with a space, and that's always a big deal with permitting and things.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, we're not trying to get away with murder or anything, but we are changing the space, and we're putting some volatile whiskey, some volatile liquid in there. So I understand, we're running some permitting problems, but this too can be. Well, hopefully, we can get it. We can get it adjusted.
Well, I was excited because I was down there on Saturday from my buddy's birthday party, and he's diagonal from the Statue of David.
Oh yeah.
So like when it was
There's
cool.
a little bed and breakfast there. No, not bed, but like an Airbnb.
Yeah. So they live in I don't know, some building, but they do Airbnbs right there.
Right.
So Michter's is on the corner, and then you have Billards and Billets or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And then in an earshot you can see Evan Williams if you look far enough, and you have proof, and you have all these things, and it was just kind of like, man, you could do a lot of stuff. Within from 10th Street, like you could start at Peerless,
which is Peerless, yeah,
and walk down and get a really good live look at what bourbon is, and never have to go to Bardstown.
Yeah, I know you guys are too young for the Bambi walk or whatever.
So
I've done.
You can do a bourbon walk, definitely.
I've done a part of the Bambi walk.
So my high school football coach owned the Bambi bar.
Nice.
So the moment I turned 21,
oh sweet,
I showed up there. And I proceeded to start the Bambi walk. I did not complete the Bambi walk because that is a long, arduous, drunken stupor.
I've never been on it.
I did it in law school.
I think.
Luckily,
I think
made it through law school.
I think
didn't get arrested.
I'm surprised.
I think there's 18 bars.
There's probably so many more now.
It was close to like 20 at the time.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
So, and you have to buy a drink at each one, and then like. My thing was I made the mistake as I ate too much because I ate the Bambi burger before I started the Bambi walk.
It's called a base, building the
you gotta
base.
start with a base.
Yeah, but the base was too big because the Bambi burger is good, but it's super filling. And then you add beer on top of that.
No.
It's real rough.
It might have saved your life.
Yeah, but there's a McDonald's right there.
If you would have went in with an empty stomach, might have saved your life there.
But the good thing about it is we walked back, and I stopped at Homemade Pie Kitchen because it was still open. Because we started early enough.
So you got the left field lounge. What is it? What is that right on the left up there? Left field lounge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is that in Hikes Point? What's that one? I don't know. Anyhow, got about halfway down the street and turned around, came back.
Yeah. I didn't get to Zaz Pizza or anything.
Right.
You don't need to make it to the end. There's no trophy at the end of the.
You're supposed to get a T-shirt.
No, I'll buy my own T-shirts.
I don't think drinking that much. So we're gonna get into something newish to market. Right, it's been out for a couple months.
Yep. Experiment.
Yeah. So the Cigar Rye, and so. I asked a dumb question. I was like, is this Umbriana cast like every other cigar? And you're like, nah.
We did it the right way?
Yeah. we did it a different way. So explain to me the process. I've not drank it yet. Explain to me the process behind the Cigar Rye.
Well, so what we did is, we always do a heavy toast. We do a number one char exclusively. We just came out with that product this year. Took the place of our small batch. It's number one char. Check it out. But so we heavily toast it. We put a number one char on it, and then we cold smoke the barrel with some Kentucky tobacco leaves. Now, this is kind of a sister product to our peated barrel, in which we had to change the name of that because we found out that the public at large, as far as bourbon drinkers and rye drinkers went, didn't care for the peated label. So we're just calling the peated the smoked. And what we did with the peated, and we toasted the barrel once again, charred it with a number one char, and smoked it with some Highland peat.
Oh, nice.
So we just smoked the barrel with some peat, and I don't like Scotch. I'm not really a Scotch drinker. I mean, I drink it to be able to talk about it, but not a fan. But the Scotch, the peated came out perfect. Very subtle hints of smoke and peat. So doing that, we decided to do, that was a pretty good success, even though people stayed away from the name, but they love the product. So then we did, why not do it with some Kentucky tobacco? Because, whiskey and cigars go together.
Yeah.
And it was a huge hit. We only did like 3 barrels of this. And we have to definitely ramp up for the next tasting or the next bottling, because a lot of the other states want it. And like I said, we're trying to stay ahead of everybody and trying to give them what they want. But sometimes it's a strain, but we think that it's so new. We haven't sent this to San Francisco, but we think it's a great product, it's unique, and we're getting a lot of great response behind it.
So the way you explain that makes me think, I'm picturing myself with a cigar, right? Like, but I get that like buzz in my mouth, which is really interesting to feel that, because that's not what I always get on whiskey in general, but this gives you that like full flavor of a cigar. And it's not smoky at all, but it gives you that cinnamon, like tobacco-y notes coated with rye whiskey. So the citrus shows up and some of the vanilla, like I think it's got a lot of complexity to it. And it's not overpowering like an Umbriana, like the cigar batches, like, the Hubers have done or Magnus has done. Like those are overpowering. This is not overpowering. It's super subtle, but it's got a full flavor.
It almost has like that raisiny note that I get from like wet tobacco. It comes through like almost like chocolate raisin.
It's definitely unique. There's a lot going on there. It does feel like one of your first draws off of a cigar. It makes your tongue tingle a little bit.
The tip of the tongue is definitely, It wakes you up, even though we've had 2. I've had 3. 3 pours of whiskey up until now, but
what I'll tell you is the finish is super chocolatey. Like the finish, and I love the toasted. So like, let me be very clear. I've bought a bottle and drank a whole bottle of the toasted myself. And when I was out, the last time I bought whiskey out, I actually bought Buzzard's Roost toasted barrel first.
Thank you.
Go check out Frankfurt Avenue Liquors. They have a great selection. But this, from a finish perspective, out of this world. Like, big fan of like chocolatey, almost malty like almost like a chocolate malt milkshake. That's what's at the end of this, and that's hard to get, and I like that.
A lot of our whiskeys are viscous. I'm looking for that full mouthfeel, but this one, takes the cake. I mean, it is, it's got that all around mouthfeel to it. And, it to me, it does have some subtle hints of smoke, just subtle. And everything we try to do is it plays on different parts of your palate and it's very subtle. But what's cool, like I said, about all 3 of these,
same base,
is they're the same base. They're MGP 95.5, but what changes is our barrel application, and that just shows where we try to pride ourselves on innovation and really can't wait to get new make in our barrels.
This was as unique as I expected, but way better than I expected.
I didn't know what to expect. So to be honest, when I was, I just said I bought toasted barrel. So I bought toasted barrel and I bought the French oak finished bourbon. And the French oak finished bourbon is also really damn good.
I didn't bring that one.
But yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Right.
But this, like, I think for me, I stayed away from the peated because I saw the word peat and I knew where I was going to eat. Because I knew I was going to Volare. And so I wanted like a full fresh palate. And so I stayed away from it. But now saying what you want, like what you said about the peated, it's like I want to go and find one of the peateds.
So you haven't had the peated?
I have not had the peated yet. So like because the name to me, I was like,
yeah,
I didn't really want a smoky palate because I knew I was probably going to either have like a pasta or something creamy.
So subtle.
Yeah. So I didn't know. So now I know. I'm like, it would be really fun to do the Cigar Rye back to back with the peated.
Yeah.
Like just to
get even more fun with the cigar.
Yeah, it'll be called the smoked, and we're not changing the recipe whatsoever, but you're going to have to look on the back to see where the smoke comes from, which is Highland peat. So,
which I could see why Kentucky would be
like I said,
I don't know about that.
I wasn't a rye fan when I started this. I'm definitely not a Scotch fan, but we're kind of bringing elements into the bourbon world.
So I'm going to ask a clarifying question. All Scotch?
You know,
Or like just
for the most
peated?
part.
Okay.
For the most part. I mean, you know, I love Irish whiskey. Don't get me wrong. But you know, Scotch. I've drank plenty of Scotch. Don't get to be able to talk about it. Be compare it to whiskey because I'm out to change the world with whiskey and just make sure that people know about whiskey and a lot of them are Scotch people. So it's like,
100%.
well, what can you compare?
Yeah. No, I've just gotten into Scotch this year. So I was just.
I'm with you again, Jason. Scotch, I don't think will ever be my thing. Single malt, like American single malt, I'm willing to give it a try because a lot of them are doing new charred oak.
Yeah.
I think
completely different.
that's a big element for me. Like I like that.
Sure.
That barrel influence.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I can see why some people would be like, Buzzard's Roost peated. I don't know about that.
It was absolutely the name. It wasn't enough Scotch for Scotch people, and it was too much for bourbon people. Like the name was too much for bourbon people to even try it.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to change it to smoked. The bourbon people will try it. They'll like it because, you know, once I twisted their arm, I said, you have to try this.
Just close your eyes and taste it.
Yeah. And some of them, it was like that was their favorite out of the line.
Yeah.
So,
well, I tell you what, I going into this, I was like, man, the toasted barrel is going to be my jam. And it's still my jam. But that Cigar Rye, it's pretty damn good.
Like I said, I was a little bit disappointed whenever I heard it was coming in the mail and then it never showed up.
oh,
but
sorry
it was
about that.
but it was because we were scheduling a podcast.
There we go.
So it didn't
Well,
matter.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, good job. Like that, it's just unique. And I think that's what I like. I like just unique whiskey. And I think that it does a really good job.
So we haven't gotten into this part though. What's the price point on most of these?
We've tried to be as conservative as we can. We keep them all under about 80.
80. Okay.
Well, and your standard offerings are like 59.
50 to 80, but I always say everything's under 80.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't want to hit that $100 price point, and it's a struggle, but especially with our rebarreling and the process that we do. And we talked about the French oak earlier. French oak barrels are
Stupid.
4 times the price that regular barrels are.
Yep.
And so we use them. If you think about a barrel being used for 20 years, or we use it for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then we ship it off. We only use them one time.
Yeah.
So we're not, pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. This is, the real deal. And,
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen, to be honest, I've never seen a bottle over $69.99.
yeah.
So,
okay. Just depending on where you get it.
yeah. And so I feel like
We're not making it. We're not making that. There's 3 markups or 2 markups that go over that. So, it's tough.
Well, no, but I mean, at $69.99, like a specialized product, I that's right in line with the market. In my mind, people are going to gravitate. The majority of people, we get it, are going to go and they're going to look at the bottom shelf and they're going to get their Evan Williams white label.
Why are you talking about me?
Their JTS Brown. That's fine.
JW Dan.
JW
Picked up a
Dan.
bottle of that the other day.
Whatever. But like, those are great whiskeys for an affordable price. But on a special occasion, like I am always looking for broadening my horizons on what I could bring someone that would really be like, here, you like X, Y, and Z. And this is in my like gift price point, which is $50 to $100. Here's your gift. Like there's so many times where I'm at a party or someone's birthday and I'm like, I need a gift, or like, you guys diaper party and like, I don't want to give diapers. So I just like give them whiskey because you're going to need whiskey during.
Yeah, he appreciates that more than diapers.
I'm sure he does.
Cigar Rye, I would recommend that as a gift for anybody that like just wants something totally off the wall.
But not off the wall from a flavor profile perspective, but just off the roll for just
the story. Like read the back of it and you're like, well, damn, who else is doing that?
Nobody.
I don't know. Who else likes to smoke cigars while drinking whiskey?
Everybody. Yeah. But switching, because we've loved the rye and we've talked about the rye, but you're a bourbon guy at heart, right? So you had to kind of be like, yeah, we need a bourbon.
I'm a bourbon guy. It took us a while to come out with it. The rebarreling, it was supposed to be out a couple derbies ago. We came out, we had to hold it for another 6 months because it wasn't ready. And we've got a lot going on there. It's still MGP juice, but it is 4 and 6 year blended. And it's 2 different mash bills. They're both high rye mash bills as far as bourbon goes, 21% and a 36% rye. And then we finished it in 3 of our barrels. So it's kind of like a recipe that we're cooking up, and we're real happy with it as far as it goes so far.
Let me just tell you, this is the darkest of the 4 whiskeys we've drank.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing the color on this.
Yeah, the color is beautiful. The nose
is awesome.
I almost get like a maple.
There's chocolate, there's maple, there's some nuttiness to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like about it, is it's kind of like almost peanut, like, but not like peanut butter.
Right.
It's like toasted nuts.
I like to say almost maybe buttered almonds a little bit, but the Marcona almonds, they're kind of greasy. But
I'm gonna tell you something, and I think this, and I'm gonna pay you the highest compliment. This almost smells just like the new batch of Booker's.
Oh wow, that is a compliment
because
for sure.
The new batch of Booker's smells very eerily similar. Because I'm like, I've smelled this before,
and hopefully that's 10 year.
So it's 6.8.
Oh wow, okay, 6.8. Well, I'll take that.
Booker's is getting a little bit younger.
If I get compared to Booker's, it is a compliment in any regardless.
So you use that term. What was the almond you said?
Like a Marcona almond, kind of a little bit. It's got the viscousness of a little bit of oil to it, but these are almost like buttery to me. My wife calls it. She says this tastes like Christmas cookies. And I always like to say it tastes like grandma's kisses, but
You know what I was kind of thinking? You said that
I don't want to drink grandma's kisses.
well, she was always drinking whiskey. Want to get in your face. I'm like, man, you got to get out of my face.
Well, you said
my grandma was just trying to find her teeth.
In a glass of bourbon.
No bourbon, unfortunately.
You said that almond, but what I'm thinking is those. And my wife's family is Greek, but they have what they call Greek almonds, and they're basically like white candy coated almonds,
like Jordan almonds.
Maybe I don't know.
That's what we gave them as party favors
at a wedding.
Yeah,
they're wedding almonds is what they are. You go to a Greek wedding, you're gonna get a whole shit ton of them.
They're called Jordan almonds.
Okay, so
you're welcome.
But it's got that candy coated like nuttiness.
We're all drinking Booker's after this, just so you know, just to let you know that I think these are very similar.
Once again, I may have to stay here.
Just post up. There we go.
Drink responsibly.
Well, so you said you waited a while to bring out your bourbon. We all know that bourbon does take a little bit longer to mature.
I like this.
And generally it's worth the wait for me.
Sure.
And this, I mean, this is...
It was supposed to react with our barrels a little sooner than we thought. The research said it should have, and it didn't. But it's not going to hurt getting staying in our barrels very, longer than it should. And then, what we do, there is going to be a shelf life to our bourbons to where we don't want it to overcook and
catch it before it runs away.
Yeah, I don't want that to sound bad, but we bring all those sugars to the surface.
Yep.
And with that number 1 char, it's so much easier for the liquid to get through to those sugars. You definitely don't want it to get past the sugars and start picking up tannin from just the raw wood.
Yeah.
And so if it gets deep in there, and we don't, we're definitely keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my inbox today, there was an article that hit from distillerytrail.com. It sounds like you might have contributed to this article a little bit, because what they were talking about was do not use anything above a number 1 char when you're doing secondary barrel finishes. And I don't know, but I've not read the full article. I didn't see Jason Brauner's name as the author, but
it won't be mine.
But it sounds like a perfect what you're talking about is like, you don't want a secondary barrel finish that's a 3 or 4 char, because you're just going to get the wrong notes. You know, it's meant to stay in the barrel for that long for the first.
It's almost, and we think that like I said, once we get new make, it's going to flip the industry a little bit. I said it here first. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. That going to build those toasted layers, and then you're going to have an unbelievable whiskey in 4 to 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pause that conversation. On the back part of this, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is some fruit. It's jam-like. I don't want to say grape because it's not grape.
I think it's dried stone fruit, kind of
like I'm getting like
deep dark cherry type.
Almost strawberry jam. So it's like a peanut butter strawberry jam kind of note going on.
Getting some fancy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Hey,
did you get strawberry on your peanut butter and jelly?
No, I didn't. I was
Welch's.
No, man, I'm the cheapest. Like, give me the grape jelly from Kroger. Like, I don't
May have went to the farmer's market here.
No, but like, it's almost like strawberry jam. I was at hashtag uppity. I was at Cracker Barrel eating breakfast not too long ago.
Damn, yeah, Cracker Barrel.
You know.
That's fancy.
It is. But they have jams. They don't have jellies. They have jams. Just so everyone knows.
You know the difference between jelly and jam, don't you?
No, I have no.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it on air. But the people that are listening to this know the difference between jelly and jam.
But anywho,
I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay. But anywho, they have strawberry jam, and my son was going ham on it. And it tasted like that because I had to clean it off of him. And then like some got in my finger. I was like, I wonder what this tastes like. It tastes like strawberry jam.
You're all over the place with these tasting notes. I think that's a good thing.
I think it's good. I like it. Actually, I think it's perfect compliment after the Cigar Rye to move into that bourbon. Like it goes really well. And so Jason was like, well, you know, I put the 114 in the middle, and I'm like, okay, like I don't care.
It's your whiskey. You do what you want.
Yeah. Like you made it. I didn't. Don't care.
But I get a lot of shit about it.
Yeah. Well, no one should give you shit because the way you progress this, like turned it perfect into drinking bourbon.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's taking notes.
You think I know what I'm doing, but maybe not.
I'm taking notes on how I do my next tasting. You can put whatever proof you want in them wherever you want to because it's your tasting, damn it.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, man, we really appreciate you just coming out to the East End and hanging out with us because I know that's out of your loop of stuff.
I mean, I don't leave my block.
He had to get off his scooter to come out here.
But this was great. I mean, thanks for having me. I got to see, part of the city I don't usually see. So it was great. Yeah, everything's good.
You got a brand new paved road on Taylorsville Road. It's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is. And they did it, and it was not very nice when they decided to pave the road.
And what's that called? Taylorsville? I mean, I just kind of put it in the
ways.
Yeah, the ways or something.
Take me the right way.
Yeah, take a right, take a left.
Yeah. Taylorsville, it's actually a state highway. It's 146, or not 146. That's like New LaGrange. Never mind. I'm just going to shut up. But anywho, just real quick, where can people find out more about Buzzard's Roost? Is it just go to the website?
Yeah, I think we've got a website and we do some social media stuff. Sign up for whatever we got to sign up for, and you'll get an email. And I don't know about that stuff because they've got me running around, traveling, and doing whatever. But
your newsletters, they're timed precisely. Like they don't come out. They don't come out all the time, which some brands do.
Well, we're going to have to thank Milena for that.
That's hard. It's hard to keep up with all the different brands and stuff.
No, I'm sure.
You guys.
I can't keep up with my own.
There you go.
But no, just follow us or something. Buzzard Roost. Like I said, we're going to be in about 15 states by the end of the year, and Canada, and just spread the word.
What about online? Were you looking for online sales too?
When we do open the tasting room, I think that allows us to do online sales with reciprocating states.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to that. As soon as we can get it open, hopefully by the fall. If you're out in a state where we're not there, keep looking. We'll be able to ship to you soon, I hope.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thanks for joining this episode of the Bourbon Lens. And thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. You can follow along on our social medias at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Bourbon Lens. You can also rate us, give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast listening app. We greatly appreciate it. And lastly, if you want exclusive access to Bourbon Lens, go over to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens and get that exclusive access for as little as $3 a month. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.